prioritise that.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are filming a parenthood Q&A and my husband Josh is going to jump in on the action. So obviously you don't see a lot of him on my channel, which is fine because it's my channel and not his, and he has his life and I have my life and we have our own little thing. But I just thought it would be nice to answer some questions on parenthood together, because I always have like people asking questions and things in my inbox, so I thought it would be nice to just, you know, do an actual Q&A on it. So we are on our way out and it's like a half-an-hour drive. So with us having Casper, it is quite hard to film a video, so I thought it'd be easy to do it whilst he's asleep in the back of the car and we are on our way out. So the lighting might go pretty horrendous because it's quite sunny and it just can't really decide which angle it wants to be on, so it might go dark and it might go really light. So I've got a boatload of questions on my phone from what you asked me on Instagram, so we're just gonna go through a few and answer them. So before we jump straight into the questions, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, give this video a good thumbs up, and we will just jump straight in at the deep end. So let me just grab the questions up. Some of the questions are a little bit like not very answerable and some don't even make sense, so can't answer them all. So the first one is it what you expected? Is it easier, harder, or just as you thought? So I'm gonna say that it's harder than what I thought. Like, I obviously expected it to be hard, but it is harder. Like, your life literally gets flipped upside down. It's worth it, but it is harder. Like, it's just hard to be organised. It's hard to, I don't find it hard to go out for the day and do things. I just find it hard to be organised at home, like cleaning the house, and you can't really just have 5 minutes to yourself like you think you might be able to. And then obviously the sleep deprivation is not great either. So what is your answer, Josh?
It is harder, but I see a bit different to you because I go out and work day to day, so I'm not at home the same that you are. I'd say it's probably different, I think, because it just means you've got to adapt a little bit more. So yeah, it's definitely harder. I would never say it's easier, because I don't think a new addition to your family is ever going to be easier. So yeah, it's harder, but it's more different than just accommodating things in a different way. And the best way to go about it is just be quite chilled, I think. Be quite relaxed and think that things are going to change, and you'd be daft to think that things aren't going to change, so just take it in your stride.
Yeah, we are quite chilled people, so luckily we don't ever really get mad about things. Like, sometimes I think I got a bit stressed in the early days, but I'm fine now.
I think as well, touch wood, Casper seems to be very, very settled as a baby. He sleeps pretty well, and I think I can imagine that sleep deprivation has such an impact on your day, not just your night's sleep, but has such an impact on your day that it would affect a lot more if you didn't sleep. So from that respect, we're quite fortunate, really.
Yeah, I think I'd be worse if you slept horrendous. So next question, how did you know that you were ready for a baby? So I think obviously we just got married and then we've had quite a lot of nice holidays together. We've travelled America, like Vegas, LA, Florida, Miami. We've been to Mexico a few times, and then we've been to Dubai and Maldives, which obviously was our honeymoon, but we knew that we wanted a nice honeymoon with our wedding, and then it was just kind of the next step. Like, I always thought I'd have children by the time I was 25, and I was 28 years old when I gave birth to Casper, so I just knew it was the right thing, and I think Josh did as well.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Just the next step of life. Has becoming parents made you feel stronger together as a couple?
I'd always say we've been pretty strong anyway.
Yeah, I don't think our relationship's changed at all, really. I wouldn't say we're any stronger, and I wouldn't say that we're weaker. It's just, again, it's just a bit different. Like,
I think from a male point of view, and this is speaking from a male, watching a childbirth and watching your partner, wife, girlfriend, whatever it might be, carry both your child for that length of time, I think no matter how much respect you think you have for them, I think you always find a little bit more when you see what they go through in childbirth. That was a big thing for me. I think I thought
you didn't realise how great I was going to be.
I always thought I loved her to bits and couldn't respect her any more than I already do, but I think from a male point of view, when you see that, yeah, it takes it to a new level, really.
A whole new level. Are you in a routine now, and did it take long to get there? We're not really in a routine. Like, we do bath Casper every night just because one, he really enjoys it, and secondly, he kind of just like knows that it's bedtime, so I would say that that's our routine. And we started doing that from 6 weeks, and he's now 9.5 weeks old. So, but before that, I think because he slept all right anyway, we didn't really need to be in a routine. He's breastfed, so we're not in a feeding routine at all. We kind of are. Like, he does feed similar most days, but then some days he'll obviously feed loads, and then some days I don't really know. But no, we're not really in a proper routine, but I don't really feel like we need to be in a routine. Like, I'm not stressed about how our days go. He only has like the one bad night, maybe like once a week or once every few weeks, but I would say that nighttime definitely is an important thing, and I think like bath and boob or bottle and bed, they kind of just know that it's time to wind down. Like, lights are dark, you know, minimum noise. We turn, like when we're watching TV, we just make sure that it's not very loud, just keep like the noise down. And I think it is important to get into routine. They do say not to, like when babies are so young, but I do think they need to learn the difference between day and night. Create a relaxing environment. Did it take Josh longer or quicker to bond with Casper than he expected?
I don't think it did, really. I don't really know. I don't think I had any expectations, really.
Best answer. If you don't have any expectations, you don't know what you need to live up to.
I think I didn't have any expectations. I think it'd be different with children down the line, because you've already had one and you know kind of what to expect. So I think you could compare a bond possibly second time, whether it's better or worse than you thought. But I think with no expectations, I just had an open mind with it. And yeah, I guess I don't really know how quick or how kind of slow it was until I had something to compare it to.
What did you do regarding visitors with the current situation? So we prioritised obviously very close family and very close friends. At the time of Casper's birth, there wasn't really any set rules anymore. Like, they weren't saying that you couldn't go to each other's houses or anything like that. I never got told that Casper couldn't see anybody else. I never got told to self-isolate. So obviously our parents came the day that we came home, and then we just gradually let other close family and friends see him across like the next few weeks. It's not really something that we're like worried about, so we just, you know, obviously made sure that people washed their hands or used hand gel, and if they'd been in contact with somebody with COVID or they had symptoms, then they weren't going to come. But luckily everyone was fine, and Casper is fine. So
I think we also looked at it from especially close family, especially parents and then auntie and uncles, that we weren't going to, not that we don't care about the current situation, we just weren't going to jeopardise their position as grandparents or take that time away from them that we'll never get back. One of the biggest things you won't get back is time. Yeah. So we kind of prioritised that we favoured them seeing him, providing we were taking precautions over any risk that we didn't actually think was there.
Yeah. Do you feel like your relationship has changed since having Casper? Again, it's pretty similar to the other question, but no, not really. Does Josh help in the night? For example, nappy changes. So he did at first, and that was because obviously Casper was up a lot more in the first sort of 4 weeks, and we would change his nappy a lot more because he was pooing all the time. So when he was first born, he was probably pooing like 8 to 10 times across the day. So I would feed Casper and Josh would kind of be asleep, and then he might poo, so then Josh would do the nappy change. But now that he's a bit older and obviously Josh is back into the swing of work, Josh usually gets up at 4:30 for work, so obviously quite early when his alarm goes off. So I don't want him to really wake up for no reason. So, but we don't really change his nappy in the night anymore. Unless he's done a poo, then I'll change his nappy, but there's no need for Josh to really wake up anymore. He will kind of be awake and kind of stirring and stuff, but, well, not stirring, you're not a baby. But he does and he doesn't. It just depends what kind of night we've had, or it just depends if Casper has had a poo. But usually I will feed him and he will just kind of go straight back down. I obviously have to hold him upright for half an hour before I put him back down because of his sickness. So I just sort of sit on my phone and then I'll put him back down, and he might go straight off to sleep, or I'll have to get him back into bed with us. But he doesn't not help, but he doesn't really need to help either.
His more recent pattern though has been more often than not he'll do till about 3:30 in the morning work.
Yeah.
And then chances are you two still aren't back asleep by the time I actually get up for work anyway.
Yeah. Have you learned anything new about yourselves? So I would say that I don't really know.
There's more hours in a day than you think.
Yeah, there is actually. That's not really about me though, is it? Or you?
Oh yeah.
What we've learned about ourselves, that there's more hours in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's more hours in a day, and I think just I'm probably actually a lot more chilled than what I thought I was. Sleep deprivation hit me harder than what I thought it would, but I think I've got used to it now. But I think I am more chilled than what I thought. Like, I just don't really let any situation stress me out, to be honest, about Casper.
I'm just as chilled as I thought.
And Josh is just as chilled as what he thought. What is your favourite part and your least favourite part about having Casper? So it's a bit of a weird one, really. Obviously our favourite part of having my favourite part of having Casper is just the fact that he is ours, and he just changes every single day. He gets more and more personality, and we literally just watch him and just laugh and just look at each other and smile, like it's just like, wow, like we actually created this little boy, and he's just so excited all the time. He's so happy. He makes us laugh, like he starts laughing, and I think that's just like the best thing about having Casper. And the least, I don't really know how to answer that. I wouldn't say.
Least favourite thing's probably going to be how sick he is.
Yeah.
It can't be pleasant for him.
Yeah. Our least favourite thing is how sick he is, because it is draining for us sometimes. Like, for example, as we were coming out, Josh had to change him because he'd been sick on his top, and then as he was changing him, he was sick on himself again, and then as he was walking down the stairs to come out the door, he was sick again. So Josh had to change his top. So yeah, Josh had to then go back upstairs and change his top. So that's probably the least favourite thing. Like, obviously it's not his fault, but it is quite hard just because it's just constant wiping up. Have we got a muslin? He needs his bib changing. Make sure he's got a bib on. Like, don't lay him down too quickly or he'll be sick. So that's probably like the least favourite part. So we have just got to where we are eating now. So I'm going to hop back on the way back and just answer a few more questions. So we will see you when we get back.
2 hours later.
Right, where did we leave off? Is that what you say?
Leave off?
What do you say?
Where did we finish?
Where did we finish off? No, when you like leave something and you come back to it.
You start where you left off there.
Yeah, right, so that's what I was meant to say. We need to start where we left off.
Yes.
So, next question is, what have you found to be the biggest change? I think for me it's just things like having dinner and breakfast together. Like it can be quite difficult to eat a meal together. You don't really eat a meal at home like what you did before you had a baby in the house. It's not always plain sailing. They might be playing up, they might be crying, they might want feeding. You might eat your tea on the sofa, you might eat your breakfast on the sofa, you might eat at separate times. And obviously we always had breakfast together on a Sunday, and we were used to having tea together because of lockdown. And we do have tea together, don't we? But
yeah,
it can be difficult sometimes if Casper's not in a good mood. I'd say that's one thing that's like a big change. You don't really eat the same. That's same for me all day actually. I don't eat like I used to at all. I just find it quite hard to make meals. Find it quite hard to even just find the time to think, right, I need to make my lunch, or I need to make some food. I think the days just go so fast that I just forget to eat, basically. What's your biggest change?
Other than work, we're not very routine-y people, are we?
No.
So we've had to kind of create a routine, really. Find the best way for little Caspers to get into a routine, but I guess that routine helps us as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, probably like, I guess life just becomes a little bit more restricted. Or you have to, you can't just sit down for the night at 7 o'clock and watch TV all night. You've got to think, right, well, he needs a bath, he needs putting to bed, or he needs feeding. So it's not like nights and stuff just aren't the same anymore, but obviously wouldn't have it any other way. What advice would you give to another first-time mum or dad?
Open mind.
Open mind. Mine would just be to just chill out. Like every single day is different. Some days will be so much harder than others. Some days you'll just think, God, this is so repetitive or draining, and other days you just have the time of your life. And things just change daily as well. Like you might have a really easy day with no crying, and have quite a chill day where they nap a lot and you can get stuff done. You might have a day where you just want to sit on the sofa all day and they'll kind of chill with you, and that's nice. And then you might just have a day where shit just basically hits the fan, literally. So have an open mind and just know that every day is different, but you will cope with it no matter what. When you think you can't do it, you're still doing it. So next question. A lot of these questions are very, very similar. So that's why it's taken me a while to get through them. Hardest part / anything you found easier than you thought. So have we found anything easier than what we thought? I would say changing a pooey nappy, because I was really not looking forward to it. Like I just really thought that I wouldn't be able to do it, and I can't even tell you how much you do not care about poo when it's your own child. Like you get it on your fingers, it goes everywhere, it's all over their clothes, and I just don't care. Like I really just does not bother me at all. And like even just like picking bogies out of his nose and stuff, I used to watch people do that to their own children and be like, oh, that's disgusting. But now I just don't think twice about it. Have you found anything easier? No, you find everything easier.
No, pooing nappies is a good one, to be fair.
Yeah, but you were never going to be bothered about pooing nappies.
Well, no, I won't, but you get shit on your hand and you're actually not that bothered at all.
Yeah. Even though his sickness is hard, we're just like, oh, he's been sick on me. Like, it's not like, oh my God, I've got sick all over me. It's just...
I think because of also how good it's been, the routine has been quite easy to find.
Yeah.
Whereas I can imagine, and that's not dictated by you, a lot of that's dictated by the baby. If he's unsettled, you can imagine routine's not that easy, because if they're constantly unsettled, you're going to want to try and find a different routine to try and get them settled. I think kind of the first one we tried kind of worked, so...
And I just think, yeah, the baby does that themselves. I think the baby kind of gets themselves into a routine. Casper clearly likes sleeping, and he likes the bath as well, so I just think it all just kind of helped and blended into one, really. What has happened that you weren't prepared for / nobody told you about? I would say the sickness. Like, I don't know anyone's babies that were sick like Casper was. people have come out of the woodwork since and said, oh, so-and-so was like that, so-and-so was like that, and I was a bit like, well, you never told me. So I just think it's good to share. That's why I share so much about it, because it's good for other parents to see that it's something that might happen to you. You know, like when I was pregnant and I thought about having a baby, I thought about the sleepless nights, I thought about the pooey nappies. Not once did I think that he would be that sick. I never thought I would have to clean up sick like I have to clean it up, and change outfits like I have to change outfits. Same. Hi my dear, how do you both manage work, finances and baby? No, Mercedes, I'm not talking to you. So obviously Josh goes to work 4 days a week, and he used to work 6 days a week, but he now fits all his clients into 4 days, so nothing's changed there at all, other than the fact that he actually works less hours. He is just more
less days, same hours, less days.
Same hours but less days, so really it obviously works better. And then I do a bit online, so I have like a few Instagram jobs, and then I have my website where I sell diet plans and stuff like that. But we've always been quite good with money, like we've got savings, so if shit was to hit the fan, we know that we'd be alright for a little bit. And I just think we don't really spend unnecessarily. Well, I might do, but Josh doesn't spend a penny on anything at all, literally. So, and we had the government grants as well, which worked in my favour, because I haven't been working since March, but then because I haven't really been spending anything, it's actually been quite nice to get that chunk of money. But I would have earned that money anyway, so it's not like I'm just taking money from the government for no reason. Like, I definitely would have earned that money, so I needed that money. But because there was nothing for us to do, it didn't really matter that we had no money to spend. So it's been quite nice. And yeah, I put most of it in savings, but I would have done that anyway. So, but we just work hard and we are quite sensible. Although, like I said, Josh is a lot more sensible than me, but it rubs off.
I have to be.
It has to be. It rubs off onto me, but I'd just say we have quite a few avenues really, like online work in the gym, and then obviously I've just got like Instagram and stuff like that. So it's just, yeah, I guess we're quite lucky, but you make your own luck. So I don't really know, without sounding, I don't really like talking about money, to be honest. I don't really know how else to answer that question. And also, we only now have one car on finance. So before we had Casper, we had 2 cars on finance, and we got rid of one, and then Josh just bought a run around to get to work and back. So he obviously bought that outright, and we've saved quite a lot of money that way. So we've got one nice car and then one little run around. Is the MAMAROO worth having? Would you have paid full price for it? So yes, I think it's definitely worth having. We now find that we can actually eat our tea together most nights, probably 4 to 5 nights a week, because he will just sit in the MAMAROO and watch us, and it entertains him. I would definitely have paid full price for it if I'd have known how good it was going to be. But anyone that's wanting one, I would definitely have a look on like Facebook Marketplace or somewhere like that first, because I know a lot of people sell them on there and they always seem to be quite good quality. Luckily I bought it off someone that I know, but I know people who have bought them off Facebook Marketplace and they've been in absolutely perfect condition. So I'm just going to answer 2 more now, because a lot of them are really similar, so I would just be answering like the same question. Have your friends disappeared since having a baby? For me, no, because all my friends have babies anyway, so apart from like 2 or 3. So I've actually found obviously that I'm closer to them, because I now know what they've been through, they know what I'm going through, and we all just sort of look out for each other, help each other. And no, I definitely have not lost my friends, and I wouldn't say Josh has either. No. Josh doesn't see his school friends that much, but that's just the way that they are. But then our gym friends, are you talking? Our gym friends are who we see a lot, and some of them have kids as well. So no, I wouldn't say that any of our friendships have changed whatsoever. I have found that I've become friends with people that I was friends with at school who've got kids, and you know, I haven't really been friends with them for a long time, and I've kind of reconnected struggling first time dads, any tips?
Obviously it depends what they're struggling with, because it could cover a broad range. It could cover finance, it could cover the mental side of it, it could cover the sleep deprivation side of it. I think the biggest thing, and it's not something that I just carry just for little Casper, it's more in life in general anyway, worry about things that you can control and don't worry about things you can't control. You're not always going to be able to control whether you have a sleepless night, whether your baby's crying, so don't worry too much about it. It's probably going to get to you a little bit, but if you worry too much about it, it's probably going to get to you a little bit more. So anything you can control, i.e. like a routine, finding that routine that works for you, your partner, wife, whatever, and your little one as well. But then work-wise as well, like if that's a routine, find that you can control that. So anything you can control, worry about. Anything that you can't control, don't worry about. So you're essentially prioritising what you actually do and what you actually care about. If you try and prioritise everything or worry about everything, then you'll get a diluted quality of everything. So I think worry about things you can control, routine, your work, how you respond to certain situations, but don't worry about things externally that are out of your control, i.e. sleepless night, baby crying, baby sick, and have an open mind. I think we can get pigeonhole ourselves too many things going, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this, when naturally it might not go to plan, and then there's only one person upsetting it, it tends to be you. So
Josh tends to have like proper what's the word? Oh, I can't think of what I'm going to say, so that's just ruined it.
Control the controllables. Can't control it, don't worry about it.
Yes, that's it. But yeah, I think for dads, like a lot of people say, you know, a lot of these questions here about baby bonding, dad bonding with the baby, but I just think, you know, obviously Casper's mainly breastfed, but Josh doesn't really find a problem. I think as long as you let them do other things like nappy changes, you know, on a Sunday, for example, Casper will chill with Josh a lot when we're watching TV or in the evening rather than me, because obviously he chills on me during the week, so Josh gets that chance then. And I just think as time goes on and the baby becomes more interactive, it's easier, because now that Casper like kind of talks to us with his little baby language, you kind of just feel like they're actual little human rather than just a baby. Like I genuinely feel like Casper's like a proper little boy now, even though he's only 9.5 weeks old. Like I feel like he knows exactly who we are. He tries to talk to us, like he just is, I don't know, just is us. And I just think it gets easier as time goes on. So I am just going to answer one last question because we're nearly at the supermarket now, but one question is, when do you give / use dummies? And I've had a few about bottles as well. So I would say that I mean, it might not be correct advice, but I generally would say to ignore the midwives when they say that a baby can get confused. A baby knows how to suck. Whether you put a nipple, a bottle or a dummy in that baby's mouth, they know how to suck. So when they say don't give a bottle too soon, they'll get confused. I actually think they get confused further down the line because all they've been used to is a nipple. And then a dummy, I gave Casper a dummy on day 2 just to help sort of settle him a little bit, even though he was settled anyway, but he just was sucking a lot, so I gave him a dummy and he just sucked on that instead, because I can tell the difference when he's breastfeeding, when he's actually drinking and when he's just sucking. So I'll just take him off and then give him a dummy. But I think you just have to trust your own instinct. If you want to give your baby a dummy at 24 hours old, then give them one. If you want to bottle feed them after a week, then do that. There's no sort of, I don't think there's any real confusion. They say that if you put something in a baby's mouth, it will suck, so that's what it'll do. So I'd just say trust your gut and ignore the fact that they say it creates confusion, because I really don't think it does.
The dummy actually worked in our favour though as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
The little,
so a dummy is a lot better for babies than what people think as well. Like people get really snobby and like stuck up about dummies, but one, you can take a dummy away from a baby, you can't take its thumb away. Secondly, if they're wanting some comfort and a dummy helps, then why would you take that away from them? Thirdly, it can help prevent SIDS if they have it in overnight, because the sucking reflex prevents like the tongue from falling down into the back of the throat. And fourthly, Casper had a really tight back of his head and neck, which was from my pregnancy, and when he's been to see the osteopath, she said that the fact that he sucks on a dummy is a good thing because it will help pull the muscle out of the back of his neck. So we are at the supermarket now just to do our weekly shop, and we will finish up our questionnaire there. Lighting's really bad. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed our advice on parenting and our little car chats. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.